Hoop season's here, man.
Hoop season is here. It's official. Practice is in. We're going.
Love everybody ready to go. No injuries at the start of camp yet?
I don't know. Find injuries. Everybody's got something. No. We've been pretty good that way. I mean, a couple guys banged up here and there, a day or two in and out, but we've been pretty fortunate in terms of the injury bug. But we got great energy. Our spirit's been really good. It's another good group. They seem to enjoy being around one another and playing basketball. They stick around after practice and just talk about whatever. And that's not prompted by us. They just do that on their own. So really good group. I'm excited to see where they take us. I'm gonna coach as hard as I can. I'm gonna coach pretty much the same way I always have, and but because it's always different personnel and a different identity of a particular team, the journey is always completely different. So I'm really excited about seeing where these guys will take us.
What's the situation with Federico?
That's a great question, honestly. He hasn't been cleared in the NCAA all the way. We had some difficulty getting some information to the NCAA, and so he's not yet been certified completely, and so just trying to continue to navigate that process.
What's the status of Arden Conyers? You fall in that day-to-day category? You mentioned his injury last week on the radio.
Yeah, he's better. Yeah, he's practicing full go now, so it's been good. He was out it was a significant ankle sprain. It happened right at the end of the summer. It was one of our last workouts, actually. And so he missed probably 5 or 6 weeks. So just getting back into basketball condition has been a priority and a focus of his. But he's back and now going full go and just trying to learn some things.
How did last year's season kind of infuse these guys during the offseason going forward?
I think here was one thing for the guys that are specifically the guys that are returners that anticipate a different role, potentially a bigger role. And I mentioned this to guys. There'll be a couple guys this year that if they don't play well, our chances of winning go way down. And they've never been in that situation in their whole life at the college level. And certainly not here. So that's a real, it's easy to say you're going to perform in those moments and you're not going to let the quote-unquote pressure get to you in those moments. But it's a completely different ball of wax for some of those guys. But I think just the experience of playing in the NCAA tournament last year, winning a bunch of games, having a real chance to compete for an SEC championship, I think that's really motivated some of these guys to want to get back into that same position again this year.
How are you feeling about the guard play right now, and how much of a difference do you notice? And outside of having new faces in there, what differences do you notice in the talent you have out there and the players and what they do?
Yeah, I feel good right now about what we're doing all over the board. We're just trying to learn. This is the beginning of the second week of practice, and we've been with the guys in the summer, but we're trying to teach terminology and just the culture, how we go about doing things. And I think those are the things in the summer that you really try to get a head start on. But like the guard play, obviously the two of the guys that we lost last year were incredibly experienced, not only in college basketball, but at high major basketball. Talon played a lot of minutes at Minnesota before he came here, and played the most minutes on our team last year. Michi Johnson was in a similar boat. So a lot of experience that you lose with those guys, but it's a great opportunity for some other guys coming in, some of which were here and some of which are new faces. And so it's just been fun trying to figure out what that looks like as we get closer to games, but certainly nothing's decided yet. But it's competitive, really competitive group.
You were saying during your radio show that Cam Scott's not all freshman year working for free next year. What gave you the confidence to throw that one out there?
I don't know. I mean, I believe in Cam. I do. And I believe in his ability, and I believe in his opportunity. And so when those two combine, I just think it sets him up for a great chance to do that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. I don't want to put any pressure on the kid, but it'd be the third year in a row we had a freshman from not only the state of South Carolina, but in reality, the city of Columbia, that was on the all-freshman team. But I say that really more than anything as just a gesture of my confidence in him, for his family, and for the fans to know that I do believe he's going to have an opportunity to have a really good year this year for us. And if he doesn't, it doesn't mean it's some sort of failure. It just means South Carolina got off for cheap next year.
Are there plans for an exhibition game yet, preseason here?
Yes, we got a contract out today. It's not signed, so I won't say what it is, but we will have an exhibition towards the end of this month, and I normally like to gear up that way. We'll do an inter-squad scrimmage behind closed doors just to give the guys an idea of what it's like with officials calling everything. We'll do a scrimmage against the super secret scrimmage against another team. I let the cat out of the bag on that one, but so I'll walk back that down. And so that'll be a real taste of what it's like going against somebody else. And then we combine those two in an exhibition game to where you're trying to really simulate what a game day environment is like, what that experience is like, going against somebody different. And we got your home crowd there for you too. So that's typically how we like to do it. So we'll have one towards the end of the month.
What do you hope to learn about this team between now and what you've seen in practice leading up to the first game of the year?
I don't know. A lot, just in terms of who's separated themselves in terms of consistency. What a powerful word that is. It's like there seem to be negative connotations associated with the word consistency. But what a powerful word in the world of coaching is that you got a couple guys that are consistent, reliable. Like I always say, I think that's your best ability is reliability. And so just figuring out who that is, and that means at practice, that means with how they talk and communicate, with what they say while they're out there, energy, emotional stability. Wow. Value. There's a lot of value in emotional stability. And so just trying to figure out what that looks like between now and the first game and beyond. Honestly, the games are going to start, and you'll still be trying to sort some of that stuff out in the non-conference.
With a guy like Jordan Butler and his unique skill sets for a guy his size, I mean, what are your plans for using him, and which outside guy, you let him stay out and shoot the three, or what are your plans for a guy that big?
Yeah, I really, honestly, I try to look at an individual skill set in spite of if they're tall or short, and the things that they do well. I think my main job is to help instill confidence in that ability that they have, and then when they get on the floor, try to create situations where they get a chance to do those things that they're already good at, that they believe in themselves, and that everyone kind of sort of knows that they do well. The fact that he's a tall guy, certainly will rely upon him to do some rebounding. There's not too many times that the best rebounder in the country is a 6-foot guy. So we'll try to call upon him to rebound and do some quote-unquote big guy things, but he's very comfortable with the ball. He's got a skill set. You look at BJ Mack, would be really a good sort of blueprint in terms of the things. BJ certainly shot threes. He also played back to the basket. He was involved in as passers on certain plays. He was good in dribble handoffs. He was a very skilled guy. I like that combination of skill all over the floor, but I like the combination of skill and size.
You've mentioned a lot about Collins shooting. Is he going to somewhat have the green light to shoot from anywhere, three-pointers, mid-range, anything this year, or are you having to drill down with him, hey, these are the chances?
Yeah, anywhere is a word that you use that I don't know if I'm going to say anywhere. I think Michi was anywhere, probably, right? I mean, we all agree with that one. Somewhere he's chuckling right now if he hears that. But I've encouraged him to, and I would like to explore what it looks like for Colin to be able to shoot threes. I think it helps us create even more space. I believe that he can make some threes. Will it be a high volume of him shooting 7 threes a game? Doubtful. But I would like to explore that, and I think part of that's what this part of the year is about, is seeing as we simulate live game, 5-on-5 game type situations, how do guys perform? And if that's something that he shows between now and then that he can do, I'm certainly, here's the other thing that I feel really good about. He's an unselfish guy. He's a consistent defender. His effort is never to be questioned, and so to let him shoot a 3 here and there, I mean, if that's the thing that he wants to do, and he's shown that he can do it, certainly I'm open to doing that.
For as much as chemistry had its impact last season, what's been the best display of this team's chemistry so far?
Yeah, I think it's by far, the best one by far, is that after we have workouts and even practice, these guys, they sit in here and talk and just hang out, and guys are telling jokes that I can't remember the last time I heard them say something out loud. And they're telling jokes, and I think it's a key part of what growing together as a group is. I without even looking backwards, I hear Nick back there talking right now. I don't know who he's saying something to, but I hear Nick. And that's good. We got a lot of guys that let their personalities are on full display, and that's part of getting to know each other. That's part of getting to like each other. I think they respect each other just because of what they've done as basketball players. But I think there's some level of liking who you play with and who is coaching you and who you coach. And we had that mastered last year. We're off to a really good start in that category, and hopefully by the time we start playing games, we can only continue to grow in that area.
Lamont, you talked about how with the players, what you achieved last year has them wanting, to do the same thing. Has it changed your expectations, goals, the way you see this team that maybe you did not see coming into this thing a year ago?
That's a good question. Expectations for me are I always have a high expectation for our team. Once you get the group together and you evaluate how they listen, you evaluate what skill sets are, you evaluate, this is probably the most important one, how they compete, and how they play together. Those two are probably tied for number one. Once you see all those things, then you will either back your expectation up a little bit to be realistic, or you charge forward, and we're in charge forward, and that right now, that's where we are. I think it's a team that has a lot of potential and when I say that, a lot of potential to win games. But we have a lot of growing to do in terms of, again, how consistent we can be and how many guys that we can have. But I have a high expectation. I always do, but I also don't want to come in and say, let's say like in our first year's group, and say, we're going to win the SEC championship. That's not, I'm realistic about what we are. And with this group and the experience that we have, I have a high expectation for us if we can continue to grow.
What differences do you hope to see in terms of paint play this year?
I don't know. I thought we were paint play.
Yeah, just in terms like playing in the
I
in
thought
the
we were
paint.
pretty good at it last year. I don't know.
But you guys have different players in there. It's Conrad Boyles. Like what do you hope to see? Do you hope to see just continue or?
Yeah, I hope we can be really effective around. I think it's some of the hardest defense to play. I've always thought that is once the ball gets 10 feet and in, you're more prone to foul. Even if you play good defense, good offense can still beat that, and it puts tremendous pressure on the other teams on the defense. So I don't care who it is. We've had Jamari has actually gone down there a couple times around the block and done a couple things, and Zach Davis here and there has tried to do some things around there. And so I don't really care who it is, but certainly Colin Murray Boyles, Jordan Butler, Nick will be another one who has played a certain way, we will call upon Nick to score, being more of an offensive weapon in those situations, probably more than he has in his whole career. I don't want to leave anybody. Arden Conyers is another guy that has been tremendously effective around the basket in mid-post and post-up situations. I hope we're effective there because I think it's the hardest defense in the game of basketball to play.